Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is One Day Today, and today's One Day is very special because this is our 150th episode, and it's been a long journey. But I know it's been a while since we've seen you and been sharing with you. But today is a very special episode. We have two guests I'm very excited who just released a new book, and it's the intersection between a very modern phenomenon, which with artificial intelligence and education. And I'm just super excited about our guest. But first, we wanted to say hello, and who we are and what One Day is about. And really, what One Day is about is no matter who you are, what you believe, where you're from, what color you are, what size you are, what you look like, you have something unique. You have something unique that can lift up somebody else. You have a unique gift that can empower, that can inspire, that can bring a smile, a laugh, joy. You can lift up somebody else. And every day, you and we all have a choice. But that's what this stage and this platform is about sharing the voices and sharing the gifts of people like you. And it's good to be with you. And it's good to be with Matthew as well. And our co-host Matthew is in Europe now, which I'm always jealous of where he travels to.
Yeah, the life of the vagabond, right? Like it's get to be wherever I want to be, whenever I want to be there, as long as I have a way to get there.
That's always.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It has definitely been a while, and I don't feel like we're going to keep doing these regularly for a while. There's still a lot of stuff we're working on. We've got the book; it's actually finally coming to fruition. Like it's finally coming together. So like I know our guests today have their book, but we also have a book that we're working on that we'll share more about very soon. And I think at that point we'll start making regular episodes again, right? Like that's the plan.
Yeah. I would say, look out for in the coming months. We'll have some announcements. We're really excited what we've been cooking up. It's really exciting, and this is why we've been doing this. Is this book is a culmination of the heart and the soul of this work, and well, today is no exception. And I think it's a good time to welcome our guests, both co-authors of the new book, From Gen Z to Gen AI. And please welcome to the stage, returning guest and friend of mine, Sophia Olivas, but also first time to the stage, Arina Aristova. Please welcome. The crowd goes wild. Hi, welcome. Good to see you. Good to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. And it is my first time, so thank you.
Yeah, and we've got a little bit of a break from format today too, because you're both coming on together. So I think we're just going to get right into it. Let you share about the book, about yourselves, just whatever feels appropriate. So Arina and Sophia, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. So I can get started. Just to give you a little bit of the history of the book, which is super exciting. It just came out the 26th of August. And the first week it became #1 new release. And it was #1 in all of its categories all week. And this week it continues very high up, anywhere from 2 to 12. So it's really satisfying to see that we put a lot of work and a lot of soul into this book, and glad to see it's doing so well. And I think one of the reasons why it's doing so well is because I have not found another book on the market like ours. Maybe they do exist. When I did a quick search, I didn't see anything else. A lot of people writing about AI, writing about how to make money with AI, how to make their business more efficient, how to write things with AI, how to, just learn basic prompt writing. And I haven't found anyone else who wrote a book like Sophia and I did, targeted to college students who really on the forefront of what's happening now, right? And will have the biggest impact from all the changes, because they're the ones who are graduating in 2, 3, 4 years, who are going to go into the world that will be changed completely from the world that their parents know. for me, one of the reasons, or the main reason for writing this book, is I have two daughters. One is high school student, one is college student. And as a very involved helicopter mom, I'm very concerned about their well-being and making sure that they have a good life, they succeed, they thrive. They don't just survive in the new world, but they thrive in the new world. So I started looking into this question. I also wrote a book of fiction before where AI plays a very important role that came out last year. And since then, I've been trying to learn as much as I can on this topic, and especially under this angle, what do young people need to learn today? What do they need to do today to have a wonderful future with all the new technological developments? And I was very fortunate to meet Sophia as I was searching for a top specialist in the field who would be interested in exploring this book with me and writing this book. And it worked out wonderfully, and I'm very grateful for all the things that I learned for myself personally and for everything that we can share now with young people. Thank you.
Thanks, Arina. And just to give a little background on us, Arina is a very well-established and successful lawyer in New York City, in Manhattan. And she comes from a very wonderful, highly educated background in linear education. I myself, while you may see in our book that I am talking about the failures of the schools with the students at this point, at this juncture, in neglecting to actually really embrace AI technology and teach the kids how to use it, I also come from a very linear background. I've gone through several different degrees, certifications, and so you'll see that going back and forth from us. What I wanted to just kind of bring to the table is, until the onslaught of the 2023 of last year, the onslaught of the public use of AI from last year, one of the most controversial pieces of education technology to enter the classroom had been the calculator. So long ago, schools sanctioned the use of a different sort of calculating instrument, the slide rule. The calculator, however, when it came onto the scene, it seemed to evoke all sorts of fears that students' computational abilities would be ruined. The students would become too reliant upon these machines, that they wouldn't learn how to problem solve, estimate, or learn from their errors. So these same unresolved arguments are coming about in regards to the usage of AI in schools. So while time is being spent on these discussions about whether AI should be used or not, or how should it be used, students are falling more behind in leveraging AI technologies, and they're coming closer to this future of joblessness due to AI's replacement of human tasks. So this book was written to arm these students with the necessary information to have a fighting chance in this AI era. And it came about from the fact that I was in the Berkeley's Changemakers program, and I was teaching students about AI, and they had no knowledge about it at that time. And there was no clear cut, like, can we use it? How do we use it? What do we do with it? So that's how we came together to create this book, and to really just give the kids that fighting chance.
And actually, I want to add to that something I have not had a chance to share with Sophia, because I wasn't aware of that. So my older daughter goes to top Ivy League school. Her program was a little bit different, where she spent the first 2 years going to a school in France, and now she's going to school in US. She shared with me yesterday that she's not allowed to use calculator in her calculus class and one other math class. Use of any sort of AI, ChatGPT, or any other AI is absolutely prohibited, and professors are instructed to use 3 different detection tools to make sure they weed it out. And it's just fascinating, because I didn't realize how prevalent this problem was. In high school, ironically, she was allowed to use calculator and computer in class, but universities seem to take, especially like traditional old universities, seem to take this very traditional approach, right? Where they literally want students to sit there and calculate by hand. And the use of computers in class is strongly discouraged. So what they do is whoever wants to use a computer goes on the second floor so they're not distracting the students who are writing. And I was teasing my daughter. I said, should I get you like an inkwell and one of those pens, you know, that you definitely...
The writing pads, yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I was not aware of that because I think high school is actually more advanced than colleges when it comes to technology.
It's I don't know, it's shocking. Like I said, that the calculator, they still haven't even resolved that. And now here comes something as disruptive as AI, and everybody's just for themselves trying to figure it out. So thank you for sharing that. So as you can see, this book is, and luckily we have these mediums. We have books, we have YouTubes, which we're going to be getting some short video shorts up and stuff, and really helping the students while the schools are figuring it out. You know, you can sit there and blame them, or, you know, get upset, you know, say the federal needs to do something. You can go all those different ways, or you can become part of the solution, which is what we've chosen to do.
Thank you both for sharing. I love this, and I love the comparison of the calculator. It reminds me of, you know, in the music industry when the compact disc came out, or when streaming, before streaming, when downloads came out, everyone everyone was terrified of the industry that it would lose its backbone. And what you're speaking is in progress in the world in technology. New tools come that disrupt and change the world, like the calculator and now like the AI. And it's fascinating because I feel it's inevitable that AI will not only have a more prominent role, but things that we can't even imagine are going to develop because of AI and the tools of AI. And I think it's amazing what you're doing is empowering people and students, you know, the future of who are the people who are going to be running our government, but also running our corporations, our businesses, entrepreneurs. And I get, there's so many directions thoughts and questions I have, but I guess my first question is, you know, what do you say? Because it seems like the book, which I have not yet read, I just got it on Kindle, and I'm excited to read it fully. But it seems like it's a conversation, even between you two in the applications of AI and how you brought your book about. But I see two sides. Like an English teacher might be terrified of AI. And it's even a cliche and a trope now, where it's like, oh, kids aren't going to write their own papers. Education is screwed. It's not going to, you know, because nobody's going to think for themselves. And I mean, that's like one extreme conversation. But what do you say to both those sides who are afraid of AI?
I'll let Arina go first.
So I think, like any new technology, you know, AI is met with a lot of resistance, some excitement from some people and a lot of resistance from others. And it was always the case with technology. But then if we look at even the last few centuries of our history, life is getting better and better with technology, right? Even though we hear very negative things on the news, and news always focuses on all these disasters, murders, wars, crime, violence, you know, all the negative things. In reality, if you look at statistics, the number of people living at poverty level has gone down tremendously. Life expectancy is going up. Wages and the ability of people to afford things all over the world is going up. Literacy is up to 86% worldwide, which is incredible, because even the beginning of the century it was like 40%, right? So if you look at these numbers, you realize that progress is a good thing and technology is a good thing. And especially now with the new capabilities that AI is opening for us, you know, a lot of illnesses can be treated that were not treated before. Life can be extended in a meaningful way, where people will be able to stay active for a longer time in their life, right? Not just live longer. It's great for education. It's helping us solve a lot of environmental problems. So there are lots of good uses. And understandably, people, you know, are afraid of AI because I guess they feel that it's so powerful that it may replace us in many ways. And we we see all the sci-fi movies and read all the dystopian books about this, right? And actually my own book, to some extent, it's like lightly dystopian. It's not very dark, but it's not very light either, right? So there's a lot of that. Part of the reason for that is people pay more attention to negative information, because even prehistoric people, in order to survive, they needed to focus on danger and bad things. So you got no benefit learning that your neighbor's baby just started walking, right? Or something positive, that they were able to grow more vegetables this year than they did last year. But you got a lot of benefit knowing if tiger is approaching or if the enemy is about to attack you. So naturally, I think we're wired to focus much more negative information, and it's happening with every issue, right? People go right to the negative. How is it dangerous for us? How is it going to be bad for our society? In reality, all technology does, it extends our natural abilities, right? Like, for example, our legs we use to walk. At some point, people invented that they can mount horses, mount other animals to move faster. Then they invented carriages, then cars, then trains, planes, right? Rocket ships. All of that is the same function of moving. The same with vision, so we can see with our eyes, but we invented powerful telescopes and microscopes to be able to expand that capacity, right? The same with hearing. We have microphones now, we have telephones to be able to communicate at very large distances. What AI does is essentially extends our brain capacity and a lot of facets of our brain to make us better thinkers, right? It's not going to replace us, just like a plane is not going to replace a human being, right? It just gives you an ability to move faster, to get from place to place faster. So fighting with it is like saying, flying from New York to California is cheating. You should walk to really appreciate, the journey and to take it all in. If you're flying, you're like not doing it right. It's to me, it's a little bit like that.
Totally.
So for me, on this discussion, and we do go into this in our book, and both our different takes on it. There's two general ways to work with AI. And the AI that the schools are really focusing on is unfortunately the one that most people are using AI. And it's just, so the two ways are you can direct AI or you can collaborate with AI. So most people are directing AI, which is just such a low usage of AI. And that has you doing something to the effect of, write a blog on, how to make money. Okay, so the AI goes and writes it for you. That's what the schools are afraid of. And that does increase laziness in humanity, and it does all kinds of problems things. The other way is to collaborate with your AI, and that builds your creative thinking skills. It brings out the originality in your voice, and it so much more superpowers everything that we can provide for each other. And the way that would look, same example, is you talk to your AI, hey, we're going to let's write a blog together on how to make money. My thoughts are that you should use AI, and you add your thoughts and this is all in a prompt. And then you say, ask me 5 questions to pull out some more insights for me so we can write this together. And then does it take longer to collaborate? Absolutely. The other way, it spits it out almost instantly. The other way, you've got to answer some questions, which requires you to critically think and to provide and pull out from you, how you are formulating and thinking about this subject. It also then brings out your originality and your voice. So that's what the negligence in schools are.
Oh, did we?
Oh,
I think we might have lost her for a second.
That would provide.
You froze for a second, Sophia. You still there?
I am. I can hear you guys.
Okay. Now it froze for a second. Please continue.
Yeah.
I don't know where I stopped. Where did you guys?
We lost you at this is what schools are combating, is the directed to AI, or directing AI instead of collaborating with AI.
Right. This is the negligence of the schools, is instead of working with the students to teach them ethics and how to collaborate with AI, they're prohibiting it. So it kind of reminds me of Harry Potter. You guys are familiar with that story? And the part where that one lady of the magistry comes in and prohibits like the use of magic and like defense spells. And I'm like, these are conversations that we've in very different iterations, but the same thing that we keep going over and over again. And in the meantime, the time keeps ticking and things keep happening. So fortunately, there's other outlets like ours.
Right.
Yeah. And I like the timeliness of this is actually very perfect and beautiful as far as I'm concerned. It's like, this is something that I've been focused on for a while as well, which is the technology is not the issue. The tech has never been the issue.
Right.
It's the level of consciousness we bring to how we use the technology that's the issue, right?
Correct.
So, yes, AI is here. At this point, the genie is out of the bottle. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's gonna be out there. What are your suggestions for how we can use this to create positive change going forward instead of being scared of what it could do instead? Like, how do we go toward how do we lean more towards utopia and away from dystopia with AI, in your opinions?
So my number one answer is collaboration. That's what I would say, collaborate with AI and incentivize people to start to work together. So in the medical fields, for instance, it's notorious for being, especially in the research field, for being silos and not sharing information because, you weren't published yet or all this stuff. So figure out a way with blockchain, tie our technologies together to be able to give everybody their due credit and to be able to leverage this technology so we can work together. I mean, if we pulled all of our information into AI from all the different research things, imagine all the breakthroughs we'd have. I mean, yes, we're already having breakthroughs with the human genome like crazy and with diabetes. And I also understand that there's some, I'm intelligent, right? I understand that there's some economic factors behind, like, you don't want to solve and cure all these things on one end because of the economic factors. But I feel like there's a way that we can shift the economics from from working with certain diseases to actually curing them, or even better, preventing them. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a way to still make, recoup those losses from the actual maintaining of somebody's life while they still have to deal with this, especially like with cancer, right? And how big of an economic factor that would be in solving it.
Yeah, that opens up a whole new can of worms. But before I go into that, I want to hear, Arina, what are your thoughts on this?
I think also on personal level, being creative, finding ways to use AI to make your life better. For example, I know a few people, I think Sophia uses Replica. I have a few other friends who use Replica, one of the apps that essentially replaces a therapist, right? So you can use that to be happier, to be a happy person, right? To deal with, your daily issues, to deal with difficult questions, and just stay in a balanced, happy mood. So you can use AI for that. You can use AI to learn new things, right? Because it's such a great educational tool. A lot of people are fond of Duolingo, that's been out for a while. That's AI, right? And people learn new languages, whether it's for travel, just superficial level, or learning it more in depth. That's AI. And there are so many other educational apps, and that area has really exploded, right? So there are a lot of areas like medicine, education, mental wellness that are great applications for AI, and they're just, natural desire to make our life easier, happier, healthier, more interesting. And of course, there are other uses like military use that are more problematic from that point of view, making our world better. And unfortunately, there's more money in the military industry than any other industry, so they tend to develop tools faster, use them more. So I think finding balance between, I don't want to call it bad use, between necessary use, because we do need to develop military AI as well to stay competitive with other countries, right? We're not all friends in the world, so we need to still dedicate some resources to that, right? But also look at all these other uses of AI that are beneficial to everyday life.
Yeah, I really appreciate, your perspectives on this, and I just speaking to what everyone was saying is, the lot of in the face of the stigma and the taboo towards AI, I feel, as humans, not only are we afraid of what we don't understand, we also have very strong opinions on things we don't understand, and in the face of that, what Sophia was saying about the collaboration, the synergy is what I personally see is where this is new potential and uncharted territory in human development. And, I think I don't remember where I read this, but some person who's an expert with AI also said, AI probably won't take your job, but somebody who uses AI probably might. And that's kind of to the end of what you're doing with this book and empowering people. But I think at its core, this whole conversation is redistinguishing what intelligence even is and what it means. And I want to ask both of you, what is intelligence for each of you? What does intelligence mean to you?
Like intelligence, how? Like human
Like
intelligence? Like
just the like what we think of as intelligence, and I guess the context is I think the Google CEO said this when ChatGPT and Gemini were starting to really blow up. He was saying this is a bigger the blowing up of AI is as big or if not bigger than humans discovering fire. And the things that we don't know that will come out of it, and it's making us look and reflect on what intelligence even means. And I think in the context of the collaboration with AI, as you're speaking from.
oh, great question. All right, Arina, I'll let you take your stab first.
I guess I think of it more in terms of consciousness than intelligence, right? Like the capacity to think. And I think very quickly it will surpass us in intelligence, right? Or consciousness, because it's learning so fast and because it's taking advantage of all worldly resources, which no individual human being is able to do. And it's interesting, one of the books I'm reading now by Ray Kurzweil, he talks about how to pass a Turing test, and probably at this point everyone knows Turing test is when the machine is so convincing that we don't know that we're speaking with a machine and not a human being. It's so human-like, right? That's Alan Turing test. But for a machine, in fact, to pass a Turing test, which they expect to happen in the next few years, the machine actually needs to be a lot smarter than us, because it knows if it does things too perfectly, like if you give it a bunch of math problems and it solves them immediately, no mistakes, oh, you're talking to a machine, right? So to be taken for human, it actually needs to be smart and make like a mistake or two, or stumble somewhere, or do something like awkward, because we're not perfect. So machine knows it can't be perfect. So that means at that point, it's already surpassed us, right? Just to pass that test. And I think that is happening and will happen very quickly. But I think intelligence or consciousness, it has different aspects. So one aspect that AI does not have that we have is our bodies. And there's so much intelligence or consciousness that's built into our bodies that we benefit from, but we really have no control over, like our heart beating, us breathing, our food being digested. For women, when they have babies, right, the body creates a new person from one cell, right? And the person who is going to be so complex and live a very complex life, create more people. It's incredible what our body can do. None of it comes from our intellectual capacity, right? All of it is just the workings of the body, all these extremely complicated processes that we can't duplicate. So this is one thing that AI doesn't have. And in our book, we often remind students about that, in addition to getting information, whether you get it from AI, you get it from books, from internet, you need to use your gut feeling, your creativity, because sometimes, information may look good, but something just doesn't feel right? Or the opposite, something is, you're not sure about it, but it just feels like this is the right decision or this is the right way to go. So I think this capacity we will always have, and this is one aspect of, I guess, intelligence that's, our pre-programmed intelligence that's in our body that, AI will not be able to develop, even though like intellectual ability in terms of like what we say, like when we talk about thinking, I think the thinking ability, it will be able to, develop to the same level and surpass us very quickly.
Would you, just out of curiosity, would either of you actually call the current level of AI intelligent today?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, so for me, intelligence takes on a whole bunch of different levels. I mean, dolphins are highly intelligent, whales are highly intelligent. So I think sometimes when people say intelligence, I'm like, well, what is your definition and what are you using as a barometer for that? Because there's sentience, there's intelligence, there's soul, there's all different things encompassed in that. I mean, for me, AI is way more intelligent than any human being. I mean, it's way surpassed us. I mean, I would never hire a regular lawyer, love Arina, but if I had a choice between AI, which has every possible legal thing in its memory instantly at its ability to draw from, or a human who can't possibly hold all that and be able to recall it right away normally, I would take AI anytime. It's way more intelligent in that sense. Now, does it mean it better? Now we're getting into a bunch of nuances. It doesn't mean that it's better. It just happens to be highly more intelligent of us because we created it to be that way. So, and we've achieved that. It just, now when you're talking about intelligence about whether or not it can decipher, well, just pick any day driving and you can see that some humans fall on that. We have our moments where we're not so intelligent. So doesn't mean that, you're always just stellar. And another thing about AI is it's such an incredible mirror. I mean, as humans, we are just reflections of each other, right? So when we have a grievance with another, we're really just upset at something going on internally, but we don't think about it that way. We always think that it's exterior to us. What's the same thing with AI? If you are prompting and working with an AI and you're not getting the results that you're looking for, you only have one person to look at, you, because it's garbage in, garbage out. You're just not putting in, because it can do whatever you want it to do. It just cannot, based on the prompting that you're giving it, achieve the result that you want. And I mean, we're so deep into robotics right now that I've been at several different functions where the robots, like, people couldn't even tell that they were robots, that they were androids, until their eyes moved. But when you were just looking at them, you just wanted to walk up and shake their hand, right? So it's come a long way, and we're just at the inception of it, right? We have just been, not even 2 years yet. It's been a little over a year and a half where the public has had full use of AI. Before that, it was the big boys, the Fortune 500 companies, because it cost billions for the server, the computational power, and all that stuff. So, we're just scratching the surface of what's to come from allowing everyday people access to it.
Yeah, what you're both speaking towards, I love that the distinguishing between the different levels of intelligence. AI might be brilliant, like intellectually, but it doesn't have a body, as was saying. But it also doesn't have an emotional intelligence. It doesn't know human emotion, and it couldn't, like, even if its job was to learn that. And there's so much depth to that approach. And again, I think this comes back to what Sophia said at the beginning, is in the collaboration, and how I see AI, in all fields, in all areas of life, but particularly education. What we're talking about is AI stops the busy work. You can have it think for you, but that's not really learning. And that's not really the practical use of AI that Sophia was saying. It's not just directing it. When you're collaborating, you might be more of a producer and an editor and a collaborator. It's like, well, what do you think of this? Is this like, let's create a blog together. Let's create a a marketing strategy. It's like, oh, maybe, but here's my target demographic, and where are my blind spots? What do I not see? And like the AI can be a powerful partner in a tool when we approach it that way. And but like one thing that just comes to mind, I remember being in school, like when I'd write a paper and I have to go back and do a bibliography, and that's something that or I have to look up information and I'm like trying to do research, something that AI can find instantly that would take me maybe hours of busy work just to find maybe a book at the library that might have it, probably won't. And it's like it helps you sort out all the knowledge in the world and brings it to your fingertips so you can use it and apply it in a way. But and again, and back to bibliographies, I remember every teacher or professor would say you have to do bibliographies in this format. And in AI, you're like, hey, help me cite all my sources. Here are the books, put it in the correct format. It's instant. You don't have to like spend a year of studying to know how to do bibliography.
No, but there are some limitations right now, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds because I know we only have like 5 minutes before Arina has to leave, and I've got to check out fairly soon as well. So maybe we could actually follow up and have another virtual stage where we actually kind of dive deeper into this. I feel like this conversation is one that's really rich and there's a lot of nuance, and we could probably spend an entire day talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So, Arina, I know you've got to go. So before you hop off, are there any last words, anything you really want to say or share before you go?
I would like to share more about our book. That the reason it's out there, it's our way to help students. We by no means encourage students to break their school's requirements, to cheat, to go around the rules. They should absolutely follow the rules at whatever educational institution they go to, right? But they need to know that all these things are out there, right? So on their own, if the school is not providing this knowledge, they should seek out this knowledge. Sophia leads wonderful classes. We list lots and lots of resources in the book. And this is really, I think the value of our book is all the resources that we make available to students where they don't need to go and ask ChatGPT to do research for them. It's already all in there. And the way we designed this book, it's published on Amazon. So what Amazon allows you to do is periodically issue updates, and it's still the same edition, right? It's very easy. Since this area is developing so quickly, when we first started working, first of all, we had to make changes even as we were working on the book, right? Because it develops so fast that while you're writing a book, you'll become outdated, by the week, by the day. So what we always envision doing is doing new versions of the book and putting them out every few months so that it stays up to date with all the resources. It has links, it has recommendations for classes, and I think it's such a great resource. I really want to encourage students who watch, and not just students. I think it's a great book for adults also because we're not so educated in this area either. And like I shared in the beginning, I learned so much as part of this process and working with Sophia. So this would be, I guess, my strong recommendation to everyone to use this as a resource and come back to it, and maybe come back to it half a year from now, the whatever new version we put out, and use those resources and learn about them. Because the schools, even if they would like to stay current, I think they're very limited in their ability to stay current, honestly, because by the time the program gets approved, the professor gets trained to teach the subject, it's already too late. So I think schools, just by their design, they cannot provide very current information, right? Very up-to-date information. So that's where our book comes in and all the resources that we recommend.
And
That's
on
pretty cool.
our half, we have a free gift that we're offering. Hopefully you're able to show the QR code or the link. If you could show it, it's the link's been sent to you on WhatsApp. It's an AI quick start. So we give you, it's like, if you're asking, well, where do I start with AI, or what is AI? Or if you're just there, the book is a great resource, but this tool One page will get you up and running. So it gives you the list of the 6 different free main AI players where you can just get started for free. It also tells you where to start with AI, like where you should, like, how do you start, like where do you start, and how to work with AI, which I kind of explained between, directing and collaborating, and how do you collaborate. And then we also go into the top ways to make money with AI. It's all in a really quick sheet. And so it'll get you started and give you kind of a precursor to our book, From Gen Z to Gen AI. And yeah, we'd love to come back on and go in more detail to this stuff.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
The link.
Quick question about the PDF. Is that something that if they go to that website, you'll be updating the PDF periodically too? Because even just like the where to start changes on almost a monthly basis.
The where to start will not change, because if you see, it's very general. That will be evergreen. What will probably change is the top players, the AI players. So yeah, it will definitely get updated, and it's in a place where it can get updated. And Arina's right. Like this book, we had it done really in like 2-3 months. The book was written. Why it took so long to get it out from that point was because technology kept changing, and we did have to, we just had to keep revamping it. And we finally got to the point where Arina was going to wring my neck, and she's just like, we've got to get it out. And then we decided to do the caveat, and we put in the disclaimer where we will be updating when, as we can, as technology changes. And it's the first time in any field where this has happened, to where technology has changed so fast that we do have to add some type of disclaimer like that. So great question, Matthew. Yeah, it will be updated where needed.
That's awesome. And so on that note, speaking of that, just quick yes or no, because I feel like both of you will know what I'm talking about when I say this. Do you feel like we've achieved singularity?
Not yet.
Yeah, publicly, no.
Probably not. Probably not.
Sophie is starting her running for political office career, right? No, I would say publicly no.
And this is the time we draw back the curtain and unveil that we are actually 4 people meeting on four places in the world. We're all projections of AI here.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. Arina, I want to go and let you go because I know you have to go at the top of the hour, and I've got to hop on here fairly soon. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'd love to continue this conversation. This is
absolutely
so potent. So potent.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I'm going to share the QR code for a second here while we're together. If you're watching on your computer here, you can either click the link in the comments or you can use that QR code. But I know we start wrapping up, and we could nerd out all day on this. Like, this is a topic that excites me, and it's the unknown of what's possible with AI. And I love that you're targeting this information to a new generation that, it's funny, people that are born 20 years ago, or just the early 2000s, aren't even aware of a time before YouTube, and it's like, what will happen to that in that same place? Children 15 years from now or 10 years from now won't know a world without AI, and we cannot fathom not only what AI will do for us individually and personally, and what it can do in developing our business or finding cures to diseases that would take human hours, years of human hours for a computer to do in seconds. Like, it's not even, I can't even imagining what's possible. And that's kind of and I guess this is my question to you, Sophia, is, what do you see, what is your vision of what the world will look like in the not too distant future of what we can achieve together with AI?
Well, barring that we as humans choose to evolve, and things like what's happening in Ukraine and Palestine, that's just becomes very absurd, and we wouldn't even consider doing things like that. then we actually get to, go up one level on Maslow's hierarchy, and we actually get to go and explore and help other things that are outside of us. There's other things that need help. We're not the only thing, as much as we have that American mentality as a global mentality that like we're it. We could actually go and start to explore and help other things outside of Earth, outside of our little lovely planet. So that's what I think is the potential.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely want you to unpack that in another conversation, because that is not where I thought you would go at all. So I'm very curious to hear that whole story.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thought. What would we focus on? What would we create? What could we do if we weren't, still stuck hung up on the surviving part and trying to survive? And it's a beautiful inquiry to come from. And and I love how you said, if we choose to evolve. And I feel like that's so overlooked. We forget that's a choice nowadays. We're not, the old Darwin laws or theories of evolution, don't apply to humans anymore, because we have air conditioning. The fittest, the least fit is still surviving, in humans. But the next stage of evolution is a choice. And that's what's so interesting, is we don't know what it looks like, because our own ego, our own shadow of our own intelligence, we've been overshadowed by our own ego and our own intelligence, where we forgot who we are at a certain extent. And AI even brings a deeper question: who am I if I'm working with a computer to create this art or this project or this business? And it's a big question.
Yeah, and like that's just speaking of the human evolutionary process. But when you look at the cultural and the societal evolutionary process, like historically, there's not many societies that have chosen to change without external pressure, right? And I feel like our current mainstream Western Judeo society isn't that much of an exception. Like, we are not changing by choice. We're changing because we have to. And AI, I feel like, is definitely one of those big external pressures that's going to force drastic change of our culture in general. And so I'm very curious to see where it goes. And I have my own predictions as well. And again, this is for another conversation, because this is just way too big.
Sure.
But is there any last words, anything that you would like to share, particularly before we sign off?
Yeah, the urgency. I'm knee deck in the, I think people like Elon, even OpenAI, Sam, all kinds of people voicing their concerns. But here's the urgency of it. When I say technology has never moved this fast, it just, in our recorded history, it just has not moved this fast. And Abram spoke, you spoke about how the first wave is that humans will be replaced with other humans that are leveraging and using AI. But right after that is AI replacing human tasks. That's really closely behind. It's very, millions and millions are about to be displaced in the workforce from AI disruption. And, we haven't even yet had really solid conversations about UBI, universal basic income. So all these things are coming about. So this is not one of those fad things where you could take 10 years to get an email address, or switch to a smartphone, or go on social media. This is not that conversation. This is something completely different. I wouldn't say that. I would say that AI is one of the more important creations, discoveries, however you want to term it, of humanity. And again, if we choose how the outcome of its usage is, as you said, Matthew. And I choose to focus on it as a tool, and I choose to use it to help me evolve. And I really hope that others join me in that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Well, I think it's well, with leaders like you, I think we're in great hands, Sophia. I think it's amazing. We're friends, and I've seen you and progress. And Sophia was sharing with me about AI before it was cool, before I even knew what was coming. But I'm excited for what's possible, because I think what dissipates the fear and the uncertainty and the the sometimes legitimate criticisms, but more just narrow-minded criticisms of AI is people aren't thinking outside their own frame. And when you come from it in that collaborative, from a collaboration standpoint, we can go places we've never been and beyond. And that's why I'm excited is that, you're doing what you're doing, Sophia. And I'm excited, to see what we all create together with leaders like you.
Thank you guys so much. So thank you for us getting the word out to the communities and for allowing us to stress the urgency and to contribute. To contribute what we can and where we can. So on that cheat sheet, you'll also see that there is a link for our book, and there's also a link on Wednesdays, not Wednesdays, sorry, on Fridays, I do free AI training courses for ladies. And if the guys want to get involved, I'd love to hear from, I haven't heard from the guys wanting to have their own little thing. So, and there's lots of ways to get in touch with us through social media and to join. As Arina mentioned, I teach a lot of courses. I do all kinds of things in the AI field for the general public.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. And once again, the name of the book is
From Gen Z to Gen AI.
Beautiful. All right. Sophia, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, we've attached the link to the cheat sheet in the comments. But yeah, to be continued. I'm super excited. We barely brushed the surface of this whole, newly mainstream phenomenon that's going to have a part of all of our lives, whether we like it or not. And like Matthew said, the cat's out of the bag, the genie's out of the bottle, and here we are. And, we get to choose where we go from here. But thank you, Sophia, so much for you and Arina, just being here and sharing with us. And we'll schedule a time to have you back in the next coming weeks. But thank you so much. And thank you all for being here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Sophia. And thank you all for tuning in. It's it's always a pleasure to have voices that are up to big things, and we're going to continue doing that. And like we said at the beginning, we have some big things coming. Stay posted. We got some really exciting things coming in the pipeline, including a book that's launching this movement to a new level. And but that's part of what One Day is about. What our mission and our vision are. What One Day is about is bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And our vision here is humanity. We're rising in a connected world with each person's unique contributions, unique gifts, being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll see you next time. And yeah, look out for our part 2 of this conversation and some updates about the book. But as always, be safe, be well, and one day is today. Peace, everybody.